All right, you guys, we're about to live stream here on Saturday night in the 512 Garage on the progress of the Yellow Vet cam install. Y'all ready? Are we live streaming?
We're live.
Are we live?
We are live.
We're live.
We're live.
Hey, where is everybody?
I don't know. We ain't got nobody yet.
Nobody out?
Nah, nobody yet.
No, because they don't know we're on.
They don't. We got one. We got one person on. Is that
Who's
like?
on?
Is that like one of your kids?
I don't know. How do you know who's on the live stream?
I don't know. Now we got people on.
Well, how do you know who's on the live stream?
I don't. Hold on. I'm open up the comments.
Here we
There
go.
we go. Oh, Justin's on. Project 30's on. All right. All right. Cool. So far, I just want to give everybody an update on the cam install. We're gonna wait for a few more people to get on. Rob's on. Cool. Rob's in. Moto AK-47's in. We got 9. Damn.
Should we put it down? Should we get it
Corvette
off?
guy 2004. How's the cam going? Cam's going. Cam is in. Just want to let everybody know. Here, let me switch the camera around.
Should we put it down?
You want to put it down? We can put it down.
All right.
Can we go down?
Yeah, go up first.
All right, it's all the way up, right?
Yep.
You good?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Dropper. This was the easiest cam install ever. Isn't that right, Dave?
Yeah. But definitely, as to Justin's point, this lift made this a lot easier to do, for sure. All right, so as you'll see, pretty much the whole front engine is all buttoned up. Power steering rack is all back in. Water pump's all back in. Pulley, everything's in. We still have to put the radiator in. And then, she'll be ready to fire up. The only issue is Brian Tooley Racing sent me the wrong retainers for the springs. Scott, can you come over and change for me?
Yeah. I'll do it.
All right. So these are the retainers here.
Yep.
So with the dual valve spring setup, the inner spring is supposed to, you see how you got these ridges on these retainers here? Oh. It's supposed to go right into that, and it's not. So we actually had Greg here with us, and Greg said, yeah, Brian Tooley sent him the wrong retainers as well. So unfortunately, we have not been able to swap out the valve springs, and therefore I'm not going to be able to do a cold start tonight, but hopefully we'll be able to get that done soon. Let's see how many comments we got. Yeah, that does suck. I'm reading the comment from Project Dirty right now. Save time, delete the steering rack. You just need the straight drag racing anyways. There you go. Yeah, Rob, I agree with you on BTR on that. I mean, even when Greg told me about it, I was like, dude, if you didn't tell me that the valve springs didn't work, like, how would I have known? Like, how many people just get these valve spring kits, just slap the retainers on, and now your valve springs are just floating out there? Like, that can't be good. So that's kind of not a good thing, and I'm kind of really pissed about it. But hopefully, our buddy Greg here has the right ones. Can we buy them locally? Hopefully, if Greg doesn't have the right retainers, I still have the tune scheduled for Monday morning at Complete Street. So if we don't get the right retainers, hopefully Complete Street Performance has the right retainers. and we can go over there, pick them up, and swap them out Monday morning, and still be able to get this tuned on Monday. I can't see why Complete Street wouldn't have the right retainers. I'm sure they do tons of BTR stuff, so I'm sure they got the right retainers. It would just be, again, just a real bummer that, I don't have the right ones. But hopefully they make it right, because obviously I'm not, I'm putting the bill back on them in order to get me the right retainers.
You want to show them the balancer?
Yeah, I'll show the balancer really quick. So there's the new Summit C2501 in. We did crank that to 240 foot-pounds. And then again, 37 foot-pounds.
Yep.
And then another 140 degrees.
Well, that was 240 on the old bolt.
Yes.
Yes. To seat it.
Yes, 240 foot-pounds on the old bolt, just to get that seated in there. Then you take the old bolt out, put the new bolt in to 37 foot-pounds, and then an additional 140 degrees.
I think Justin was asking about his.
Justin ask?
What are you saying, Justin? Let me see. That's why I'm worried about not ordering the right parts for my slave cylinder. Yeah. So, Justin, we have some time scheduled on the calendar for your car to come into the Team 512 garage. Now, I need to understand whether it is the master cylinder or the slave cylinder, because the slave cylinder is going to be a lot more work than the master cylinder. So the master cylinder is probably, with filming and stuff, I could probably knock that out in a couple hours. The slave cylinder is going to require us doing a lot more work to get to the slave. And there's a lot of other upgrades that you would want to consider if you're getting in there and doing the slave cylinder. So if the issue really is the slave cylinder, we're not going to knock that out in an afternoon or a couple hours. If it's the master cylinder, yeah, that one's not nearly as bad. So just DM me on Instagram. Let me know which one it is. Let me see. You're commenting right now. Let's say if I come up and hope we can do it with the, hold on, what's it say? Slave cylinder leaking from center of car. Yeah, so to access the slave cylinder it's a pretty big job, because we basically have to do everything we would do in order to do a clutch in the car, right? We got to drop the rear subframe. Yeah, we've got to. That's a big job if it is in fact the slave cylinder. But confirm that it's the slave cylinder before we even decided to do that.
We have Marco from Germany. He's
Marco
got a
from
C5
Germany.
too.
What's up, buddy? How are you, man? Thanks for tuning in. That's awesome. So
again, too, obviously this is my live stream, but you guys should know Scott by now over at Team 512. If you don't, after this live stream, head over to his channel, give him a sub. He's putting out some great content. He just got a new camera too that he's been showing off all day, kind of putting us all to shame. So definitely stay tuned for that. Project Dirty. Hold on. Whoa. Comments are flying in. What did you use to keep the crank from turning? I have a tool that grab that tool from me, Scotty.
Real quick.
It's in this box here.
You put it back in there?
Yeah. I think it's in this box here.
Yeah, so for the automatic cars, this is the tool here. See the teeth on here? This is what meshes with your flywheel. So we just dropped the starter out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had to take the header off and drop all of the exhaust in order to get the starter moved out of the way. And then these two bolts here just bolt up on through here and bolt in replacement of the starter. And this meshes with the flywheel gears, and it held the flywheel steady as we tightened up the crank bolt.
Yep. And then the Corvette got 2004. Is there any specific cams that you guys recommend to make good horsepower and still be streetable? Well, that's why I went with the BTR Stage 2. It's still supposed to be a really streetable cam and shouldn't have any issues with it. So that's why I went with the Stage 2.
Yeah.
We also have Greg here.
Hey guys.
He was our technical support for the day. What's your Instagram?
Greg's.c6.
Okay.
From my experience and everything I've read online, pretty much anything at or under 600 lift will be pretty streetable. Once you get a little bit over that, you're going to have trouble with cam surge and streetability.
Go outside and look at the
if you're looking at your specs for
Yeah,
whatever
right on.
cans you're trying to search for. 600.
What other comments have we got? Lico, yeah, St. Louis.
We got 3 generations out here.
Todd Johnson, did I hear that they gave you wrong? Yes, they gave us the wrong. We already went over this, but we'll do it again. That's not a problem. They gave us the wrong retainers for the valve springs. He's gonna demonstrate this again.
Yeah, so on a dual spring kit, you have your inner spring and your outer spring. And, it's going to sit in the head like this, and your retainer goes on top of it, and everything is compressed. The problem with the kit, and this actually happened to me too, is that the retainer doesn't actually snap into the inner spring, which doesn't allow the retainer to keep this concentric with the outer spring. So your inner spring is basically just floating around inside the spring, which means it can rub on it, it can hit on it. It's not held in place. So when I contacted their customer support, they just sent me out a brand new kit, and they made sure everything fit together. But that's basically the problem, is the retainer doesn't fit to the inner spring. The outer spring is not the problem. It's just the inner spring.
Okay. So we got more comments here. Scott, you want to show them all the Corvettes outside? We got a Corvette garage.
We got 4 Corvettes here today.
Peter Carey, better late than never. That's right, buddy.
Should we do a little cold start competition?
Oh, if you guys want to hear a cam chop today, we will let Greg start his C6.
All
right. So we're gonna give everybody at least a little chop chop.
So hold on. All
right. We're live. We're back. Greg was in Bordentown, but he was driving Scott C5.
Oh, who's the cold start dedicated to? Oh man,
This is dedicated to you because you're going to have your cam soon.
All right.
There you go.
There you go. We'll dedicate this cold start to Dave right here.
What you have to look forward to.
That's right.
Yes.
Sounds like a beast. Yeah, it does.
Oh. Hey, Greg, what kind of exhaust do you have? Your straight, your stock manifold, right? And then your 3-inch straight pipe. And then you 3-inch straight pipe all the way out, no mufflers. He's hotboxing it, that's for sure.
That was 3,000 RPM.
3,000 RPM, there you go.
Yeah, it's a screamer.
So that's where we are with the camp stall so far.
I didn't want to go too hot because your neighbor.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
So let's go on this side.
Very fun. Got Indiana Jones it.
That's it. Courtney's gonna yell at you for the garage door sound again.
You got yellow paint.
Straight pipes isn't bad if you want to go straight pipes, but I mean you gotta worry about drone. That's the only bad thing about straight pipes, of course. Right, Greg? You have drone on yours?
Yes, very much so. Lots and lots of drone.
Okay.
So you want to talk about like some of the issues we ran into, some of the more difficult moments of the install for everyone?
Yeah, we can do that. Todd, what's the ETA on the right parts? Hopefully, my buddy Greg over there has the right parts, so hopefully tomorrow we can get them. If he doesn't, hopefully Complete Street will have the correct parts on Monday for us to put in here and still be ready for the tune on Monday. So hopefully that's the backup plan. But again, hopefully Greg has the right ones.
Hopefully.
Any other comments? There was another comment that popped up. Okay, so that's it. All right, so issues that we came across. Obviously, just getting the whole front of the motor was pretty easy, right? There wasn't any issues we had with that. Even the radiator was pretty straightforward. The
Transmission coolant lines that were spewing.
Yeah, I do have transmission coolant lines that were spewing ATF all over the place. Yeah, Todd, high pressure power steering exploded. Laugh out loud. Yeah, it did.
Show him
Yeah,
the ductwork.
There it is. It's all up there on the ductwork. So, yeah, she was a squirter for sure. So, but I mean, the radiator was pretty easy. There's these 4 little slide tabs here on the AC condenser that you just slide off of the radiator, and then you just unhook a few electrical connections. Radiator came right out. That was a breeze. Power steering rack was a little bit of a pain in the butt. So there's just these 2 bolts here. You had one here and the other one on this side that gets rid of the power steering rack, and then there's however many bolts on this. Those are 2 or 3 bolts, right?
Yeah. And the crow's foot. You should talk about the power steering lines.
Yeah, so you have to take off the nut, the bolt for your power steering rack itself. And then I can't really get a good picture on it, but there's 2 bolts down there that connect to your power steering rack that you have to get out with a crow's foot. Your wife thought that comment was funny.
Which one?
I'm assuming the inappropriate one. So things that are necessary for getting the power steering lines off your power steering box is definitely a crow's foot. This is an 18 mil, and then an 18 mil flare wrench. Those were lifesavers in getting that off. We used this just to crack it, and then once we cracked it, it was pretty easy just to get with your hand. But so the crow's foot was crucial in that, and then obviously the flare nut just to get on there a little bit better.
We got to thank Lars for that.
Oh yeah, that was buddy Lars.
Yeah.
Is he drummer for Metallica or a different Lars?
He's the backup drummer.
Backup. Okay, he's Lars like step in when he's sick or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, you have to realign the tires after taking out the power steering rack. No, you do not. When we did do this, when you remove that bolt off the steering rack, you do have to make sure. Here, we did tie down the steering wheel. Just to make sure that the steering wheel did not rotate at all. And then once you have that bolt off, then you can do whatever you need to do with the wheels. To break the tie rods out. You got to take your tie rods off just to again get the power steering rack out. Now all the how-tos on LS1 how-to, all the YouTube videos said to take your power steering rack out the passenger side. Well, we tried, and we tried, and we tried. We came out the driver's side, and it was successful. So, if you can't get it out the passenger side, pull it out the driver's side.
Yeah,
that's what we did.
One of the things we did in order to get enough clearance to get the rack out, we actually loosened the 4 nuts for the front subframe.
Yes.
And then we were able to pry the front subframe down just about an inch. It wasn't much. It was just enough to kind of open up enough space in that wheel well. And once we got the steering box through, the whole rack just came right out. So again, if you guys are ever going to do this, replace your steering rack, or if you guys are ever going to do a balancer or dampener replacement, to me, pulling the rack out the driver's side was not too bad. Again, loosen up those 4 nuts that hold on. I think there are 21 millimeter nuts that hold on the front subframe, and then you can just drop it down just enough to get some clearance to work that rack right out.
So we have a few questions. Todd, did you use the OEM spring or upgraded spring from Melling? I used the upgraded spring from Melling. I believe when you order the oil pump, it comes with the red spring already in it. I didn't swap it out. That's the one. That's the spring that I went with. How many cam jobs have you done? 1.
Well,
And it's not even done yet.
80%.
It's 80% of the way there. That's it. This is the only one. But to be honest, after we did this one, we can probably do the next one in about half the time. Just knowing how to do things is like the hard part to get past.
You want to talk about the Trunnion upgrade?
How did the Rob? How did the old cam look? The old cam looked great. I have it somewhere. Where's the old? It's in the box.
Up. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll show that to you, Rob.
Yeah, I looked at it. It looked good. It was, what you would expect for wear on it.
Yeah, Mr. Black, the EBCM mounted in the back of the cam. Yeah, the that you do have to unbolt and kind of push your EBCM up and out of the way just to wiggle the rack out. And there's 3 bolts on there. One that goes through that holds the rack in, and then 2 other ones that are mounted that hold the EBCM in. I'll undo all 3 of those. You just kind of push it up and out of the way. Just leave all those lines connected, and eventually it will come out.
Who wants to see the old cam?
Rob wanted to see the old cam.
All right, Rob. This is for you, buddy.
The old pump stick.
There it is.
So there's the old cam. It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't any like substantial marring on that.
No, looking
No,
at
not
the
at all.
cam and looking at your spark plugs when we pulled them out. Your motor looks really healthy.
Yeah, these were the plugs when we pulled the plugs out. Where are the plugs at?
Right there.
Oh, there they are. So, I mean, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I did the long tube headers, and I did plugs and wires at that time, and that was about 7,000 miles ago. So far the car's been running great. Are you going to upload this live stream? To be honest, this is my first live stream. I don't know. I don't know how this all works. So I'm gonna try, but I don't know how it
Hey, you
works.
can make this a public video.
Oh, can I?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, I will upload this live stream afterwards.
Big shout out to Courtney for filling our stomachs with linguine
Yes,
and meatballs.
Mr. Black. If the cam
Shout
were
out to you for pouring the wine.
if the cam were bad, you'd be pulling the heads with a wink. Yeah, well, hopefully Greg, he's gonna be hooking. Well, maybe he won't be hooking me up. We don't know yet. He's got a set of 243 heads that might be coming here next year. So we'll see.
Yeah, they're built too.
Yes, and then we did upgrade the trunnions. So we got the new brass bushings in there from Straw Technologies. So all the trunnions have been upgraded, and those will go back in the car once we get the right valve spring retainers, and we'll put all that in. Hold on, I'm trying to catch up on a few comments here. Bobby, thanks, love your content and cannot watch. Thanks, Bobby, appreciate it. Cheers. So what's next after the cam? I'm gonna let it go for a little while. I'm not gonna do too much. I want to get this cam in there and get it all done. And like I said, maybe heads in a year, but that's about where I'm gonna stop. I'm not going boost after that. And then these were the old trunnions. Now the issue with the old trunnions, if you haven't looked into these before, sometimes here that one's not together. Can I get a together one? All right, yeah, this one's together. So on the old, here, grab that trunnion out.
You want that?
Yeah, grab a trunnion.
Me to explain it?
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
explain it,
'cause
Greg.
I've kind of had experience with this.
Greg.
failing.
Greg has had these needle bearings in his engine. So, Greg, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So basically, what happens is the needle bearing that sits on your trunnion, the inner race and the outer race are not connected at all. It's not a captive system. So you have all these needle bearings in here. And the inner race is free floating on
Oh, there goes all the needle
yeah,
bearings.
crap. Is free floating on the trunnion. So this just sits in here and it's held in place by the outer race, which is pressure fit.
Don't put needle bearings all over my new trunnions.
Yeah, we'll clean them off. Is pressure fit into the rocker arm. So there's no captive system like the replacement here, the upgrade. There's a C-clip that holds everything together. There you go, C-clips. And like when you do even just high mileage or you beat on your motor or upgraded springs or any number of factors really, these outer races, which are the only thing that hold the whole system together, these outer races can work themselves out and they'll just pop out the side of the rocker arm. And then you've got all these needle bearings floating around inside your heads. They drop down on your cam. They run down into your oil pan. Ask me how I know.
No, Greg. How many needle bearings per bearing? Because I know
33
33 per bearing. So per side, 33
per side. Yeah, so 66 per rocker arm.
Gotcha.
So it's a very common upgrade to get rid of that and replace it with a bronze bushing.
Oh, yeah, I said brass. My bad. Bronze.
It might be brass.
It might
I don't
be
know.
brass.
I don't know. It's
one of those.
One of those.
It's one of those goldish materials.
Yeah. So you replace it with a bushing because that is not going to go anywhere and it's captive.
Well, that just sounds like a poor design, the Corvette guy, 2004.
And you know what? It really
is.
It really is. It's a very poor design.
And BTR's Trunnion upgrade kit has the captive needle bearings. But
Yes.
there's still
Yes.
some stores of those failing.
Yeah, so there's 3 stages of bearing or bushing, if you will. You have your top tier bronze or brass or whatever bushing, and then you've got 2 stages of bearing, and some of them are captive, like a skateboard bearing, where the inner and outer race are connected. They do not come apart. So that would be, I guess you could call it your stage 2. This would be your stage 3. Stage 1 would be this trash here.
Yeah, and I will say, so from an economic standpoint, why car companies make decisions like this sometimes, if you can imagine that it is $1 more expensive, right, to put a brass bushing instead of this, if these are $1 less expensive, you've got $16 more in the engine of this vehicle times
Hundreds of thousands of vehicles.
Yeah. So even if you multiply that by 50,000 vehicles, you're looking at $800,000 more expensive to build 50,000 vehicles.
Right, and these rocker arms are in the truck motors. They're in the Corvette motors. They're in the Camaro. They're in the LQs, the LYs, the LSs. They're in all of it.
So when you look at mass-produced vehicles, mass-produced engines, literally every cent matters. Because when you scale that up across an entire line of vehicles, it can become millions and millions of dollars in order to simply upgrade a small part like this. So on the surface, that seems like a bad thing, but in the long term, it's really good for aftermarket companies, because aftermarket companies can come in and they can improve what the OEM manufacturer is doing and create and build a thriving environment for us to be a part of. So on one end, it's kind of a trade-off, right? So on one end, you're like, well, why don't they just spend the money and make it stronger? And on the other end, it's like, but it's great that we have a thriving aftermarket for the LS engines. And this is one of those parts that, we don't normally talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, definitely. Once you upgrade to a higher lift cam, not that it will happen, right? There's nothing that says it will happen. But the probability increases that your stock needle bearing bushings will fail.
Yeah, the increased seat pressures of the springs and the increased pressure in like a higher lift, like a stronger spring, puts more pressure on that bearing, and all it wants to do is go out because it can't support the weight.
Gotcha.
He's laughing. What's going on?
Pat's Garage had a comment for you. He said, "Great marksmanship on the target on the workbench." Let's check that out really quick. There you go. What is that with? AR?
That's just 50 yards out with an AR 5.56 rounds.
How many yards?
50 yards.
That,
That's 50 yards. I know,
bro,
but
that should be a dime at 50 yards.
that's rapid fire at 50 yards.
Here's a Trunnion. It's a Trunnion at 50 yards.
Come on, man.
Our rocker arm.
We'll go out tomorrow. I'll show you how to do that.
All right. I think we had a few other comments. Let's catch up on a few of those. Maddie, the slow yellow vet is getting better. Yes, buddy, it is. Let me go up. There were a few others. The driver's corner. Forgot how many miles are on your rig. I think right around 58,000. I think it's either 57 and change or 58,000.
Want to talk about the cup holder at all?
No, we'll do that. I'll do a separate video on that one. What is the reason no one pulls the AC condenser out besides the fact you will need to recharge the AC? Yes, that is a big fact that you do have to recharge the AC if you did pull it out, but you don't have to. Not that we had tons of room. We didn't have tons of room, but you have enough room to pull the cam out and not really mess up your condenser. All that little, schmutz that's on there, that was on there before doing the work. We didn't add any of that on there, so. But it's still an automatic. Come on, Court!
Oh, is
Man!
that my wife?
Yes!
Hammering
me. She still got the wine in her hand or what?
That's why I married her.
Mr. Black, there's plenty of room. Yeah, plenty of room for sure. Obviously, I know you're kidding about that one.
No, I think you meant plenty of room to pull the cam
Well,
out, right?
yeah, well, with a smiley face.
Oh, I missed that.
So, I think he's kidding. Auto's better than manual. Damn right it is.
If you're going in a straight line.
If you're racing, autos win races.
Yeah. But we're just here to look cool, right?
Yeah.
Can this please turn into an auto versus manual live stream?
Stick shift all day, every day. Hey, I get it. I mean, obviously, I have an automatic, and that's what I chose because I never drove manual before. But driving with Scott, I learned how to drive manual with him and my buddy John. I get it.
There's a couple videos on my channel of you driving a manual. If you guys want to see Dave driving a manual, you got to head over to the Team 512 channel, and there might be a tree stump. Is there a tree stump in one of those videos?
There's a tree stump. Do we need to go check out that tree stump?
There is a tree stump. Does anybody that's on this live stream know of the tree stump that we're referring
Well,
to?
Todd just said protect all rocks and shrubbery around Scott's house. So I'm assuming Todd watched that video. Courtney, yes, yeah. Was that yes that you still have a bottle of wine in your hand or the tree stump?
No, I think we're gonna take care of the tree stump tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
We should live stream
Maybe
us
we'll live
taking
stream
care
taking
of the
the
tree
tree.
stump.
Courtney said both. Way back when I was youngin', people daily drove manuals. Now that's
Yeah,
crazy.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
true.
hear you on that one.
I've daily drove a manual for 5 years.
Yeah.
6 years, something like that.
They do it in Europe all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, any other questions? Questions that we can answer for you guys? I am due for a cold beer.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Well, he's been giving me wine. I'm not a wine drinker. He's been giving me wine.
Yeah. Good for the heart.
Tacona, I have a 2001 auto. No regrets. Yes, I have no regrets on mine either. The Corvette guy. I daily drive my stick shift Corvette in Maine during the winter. Wow.
Props.
Maine winters they're no joke.
I almost didn't drive
Oh,
that down
RTV
here.
on the front cover gasket. You want to talk about that?
Yes, I did put RTV on the bottom corners.
See if I can get some.
Yeah, see if we can get some light. Let me just flip this camera around so you're not staring at my face.
Let's see if I can get some light on there. I don't know if you can be able to see it.
Yeah, we can't really see it with the
Well, I
balancer
can-
on the way.
Kind of point it out. But basically, the front cover comes down, and right kind of down in the bottom corner behind this balancer to the left is where the front cover meets the oil pan. And in the left and right hand corner is where you want to put some RTV, just to help it seal, because you have the oil pan gasket that comes out, and you have your front cover gasket that goes up and around in a hoop. It's not a complete circle. So where those two gaskets meet, the chances of them being a perfect seal is very low. So you just put a little schmutz in the corners, and it makes up for the difference.
Schmutz is a technical term.
Yeah,
Yes, it's very
it's the term of the weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
schmutz.
Schmutz.
Yeah.
It's the word of the weekend. I think we had a few other comments here. Let me catch up a little bit. Auto C5 Corvettes with 315 gears are pretty fun. This car does have 315 gears, so it is fun. It's
gonna be more fun.
Maddie's Garage, I daily drove manual for 10 years.
Maddie, what's up,
Brazil.
buddy?
Brazil.
Hard workforce.
Need your voice sounded. I knew your voice sounded shady. Yes, exactly.
Wine is good for your health. That's right.
All right.
It's full of
we caught up to
resveratrol.
that.
I hear the more you have, the better you feel.
Rob, how late did you guys work till last night? We
We or you?
yeah. Well,
This is
we
pretty good.
disassembled everything, minus the valve train. Disassembled everything last night. We were done probably 10:30, and then I woke up at 1-ish to do my Trunnion upgrade until about 2:30-ish, and
He was looking at me. I was asleep.
yeah,
I don't know.
and then that's what we did, or at least that's what I did. Todd Johnson, oil pan corners. Yes, that's where the RTV went in the corners. I've only gone off road one time, and that was because I was being dumb. She drove right out of the ditch, though. That's good. You don't want to be in a ditch. When is the projected start date for this project?
Start date meaning starting it up?
We wanted to start it tonight. Mr. Black, I forget your name. Sorry about that. BTR sent me the wrong valve spring retainers.
Yes.
They do not fit the dual valve spring, so I'm a little pissed off about that. But hopefully we get that worked out.
We might opt to start this thing tomorrow morning once we get the radiator in with the stock valve springs, and just to get it fired up. So that's the plan. We're probably not going to take it over a couple thousand RPMs though with the stock.
Yeah, you can start it, idle it, and maybe even run it up to like 3,000-4,000 RPM on the stock springs. But where you run into trouble and why you upgrade to the dual springs is when you get into the higher RPM with the high lift, high duration, you run into valve float, because the stock springs aren't strong enough to close the valves fast enough. And that's where you run into trouble when your valves kiss your pistons.
Gotcha. Not a good thing.
No, very not good.
There was a question on Project 30. Are you planning on a gear swap? 342 6-speed diff just showed up today.
Oh, nice.
My 273s are just way too long. I agree about the 273s. When I was shopping for my C5, I drove some C6s with 273s in them. This C5 with 315s felt so much better than a C6 with 273s. I'm probably not going to upgrade the gears because I hear 315 to 342. Obviously it's an improvement,
Yeah,
but not a great one. If I were to do that, I'd probably go up to 373s. But that's not in the work. That's not a plan.
Popcorn ready. Let's
Popcorn's
go.
ready.
I know,
Oh, man.
right?
I wish I could start this for you guys.
Should we try it? Should we try it?
Atomic Zeus, Tony, is this mainly to get more horsepower? Yes. Horsepower, and us Corvette guys need a little chop.
That's
So
right.
that's what that's for. Going through the course. Juan, I have an 03 C5 with Corsa. I wish winter would go away. We all wish winter would just go away, even though Greg did drive his
In the
C6
rain.
here in the rain today.
We took the C7 out in the rain today too.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
we did. Yeah.
By the way, Corsas do sound great. Can the stock springs coil bind on 600 lift? You got me on that one. I'm looking over at Greg. I looked at Greg on that question.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting really close. You're going to be pushing it. The coil bind on these is 600 lift is about as high as you can go. I mean,
And
you're pushing it.
Yeah, I think the lift on mine is slightly over 600.
615. Is that
I
what
think
it
it
is?
was 615. I forget what the specs
Yeah.
are. Let's see. There's a few other questions. Is there a break-in procedure for the cam? I believe the only break-in procedure is to
On a hydraulic roller lifter, you just have to make sure everything's lubed.
just lube everything. Get a good heat into it. Start it. Get it all heated up. Let it go overnight. Get a good heat cycle on it. Let it go overnight, and then you'll be able to do what you need to do. But
Put fresh oil in it.
yeah, but don't hammer it right away. Are the water pump bolts reusable or torque to yield? Water pump bolts are reusable. Peter, roller cams don't require a break-in per se. Thank you. Tony Chop, that's right. What is the purpose of the second smaller spring inside the bigger one?
It's just extra spring pressure. It's easier to get that extra pressure with 2 springs than it is to make a thicker, stronger spring. That's really all it is. It's just packaging.
Gotcha. Justin, I think more people daily drive the C7 more than any vet I've seen a white C7 today and an orange one yesterday. Well, I mean, when the weather is nice, I mean, people tend to drive their newer cars more just because, people are leasing them.
Yeah.
That's it. Project 30, where are you guys located at? I'm in South Dakota, and there isn't anyone into go fast stuff.
Yeah, we're up in the Northeast, New Jersey, southeastern Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm on the Jersey Shore, so we pump our fist, not gas. Yeah, no, backwards. We don't pump gas. We don't pump our own gas. We pump our fists. That's it. That's how the saying goes.
Well, all right then.
Hey, come on! You guys
Good
don't
for
watch.
you,
You
bro.
guys don't watch
Good
Jersey
for
Shore.
you.
Come on. Yeah, just in South Philly area here. Jim Tan. That's it. Jim Tan Laundry.
Yeah, there
See?
you go. GTL, baby.
So
I don't know. Anything else?
Yeah. Any other questions that you guys may have?
Put the radiator back in.
Yeah, I mean, tonight we're gonna put the radiator back in. Was there anything else we needed to do? I mean, besides the valve springs.
I mean, radiator back in, put the wheels back on, and until we get the valve springs, that's about as far as we can go.
One question: shouldn't you break the cam in on stock springs anyway? No, it's probably not a good idea to do that. Just because the lift duration on these on this cam, I wouldn't do that.
You want to talk about torque converter and going with the stock torque converter until we find an issue?
Yeah, I mentioned this in my video prior to this live stream that this will have the stock stall converter in it. BTR said that a lot of tuners can tune this on the stock stall. I reached out to Complete Street. They said they couldn't guarantee it, but they will try. So we're going to try this on the stock stall, and if there's any issues, then we'll go into replacing the stall converter in the summer. The Corvette guy, I've only stopped in Jersey one time for gas, never again. I don't feel comfortable with someone doing it for me. I've always done it myself. Yeah, but you know what? When it's raining out, you like when somebody else has to pump your gas.
Yeah, but what happens when you roll up in a vet and they're dripping gas all over your quarter panel?
Yeah.
Like, what happens then?
That's as bad as
somebody's dripping, squirting gas all over your car.
When they're putting
What's up with
schmutz
that?
on the side?
No, it's as bad as somebody
Schmutz.
wiping my butt for me. Come on, man. I can get the gas in there. I don't need any help with that. Jersey, come on.
You have a bidet? Let's see if there's any other questions. Maddie, stupid question. It probably is a stupid question. What is the risk to have a cam on a high mileage car?
Everything is loose. Everything is loose.
What do you consider a high mileage car? I've got on my C5 that's cammed. I got over 80,000 miles on it, and
I'd call a high mileage car
150, 120.
150 plus.
Yeah.
I'd call high mileage. 100, you're pushing it. But everything just gets loose. Things get worn out. Everything has a shelf life. Everything has a used life. Like your springs are going to wear out. Your seals are going to wear out. Your valve guides are going to wear out. Your head gaskets are going to wear out.
I think
everything has a shelf life.
Yeah, and some of it has to do with the life that the car has lived before you put the cam in it. So if it was very well taken care of, oil changes were done at the right intervals, you have less to worry about. But just like any car that you buy used, you sometimes don't know who had the car before you and how they treated it. So it's always a risk when you're modding an engine, right? So it's just your tolerance for that risk.
Yeah, basically putting a cam in basically simulates beating the crap out of the car because of the high lift, high duration, more gas flowing through the cylinders, so you're going to burn up your plugs faster. Like it's basically a commitment to accelerating the wear of the parts of your car. But I mean, the chop, come on. That's why everybody
needs a little.
You do it for the chop, and the other thing about doing a cam, and if you do it right and you do all the accompanying mods, you're actually supporting the fact that you're putting a cam in, so you're replacing a lot of the wear parts when you do a cam.
Yes.
I mean, you've got a new oil pump, a new timing chain. We're going to do new valve springs. Oftentimes people change the heads out, lifters, that sort of thing. So it depends on how far you go. Other than the bottom end, where you would be changing out, the pistons and the rods and that sort of thing. Other than that, a lot of times people decide to rebuild the top end when they do a cam job. And so you get a lot more life out of it. So it just depends on how far you're willing to go when you're modding.
Project 30 My Tahoe has a BTR Stage 3 truck cam, and it's
Nice.
at 338K on the Yolgo. That's
There you
good. That's
go.
some good stuff right there.
That's awesome.
The old chopper.
Chris, what antifreeze are you putting? We are going to be using the Prestone Dex Cool. This is 50/50 max, so we can just put that right in. We don't have to worry about
The old special.
Yeah, don't have to dilute that down with distilled water.
You want to talk about any of the special tools that were used that somebody lent you? Great. We have a whole box of tools.
Yeah, there's all kinds of special stuff like lining up your.
Yeah, we did use this timing cover tool to line it all up. You just put that on the crank snout. Leave your timing cover a little loose. You don't have to, don't run everything home. Put that on the crank snout, and then that lines up your timing cover. So then you can crank that on there to whatever the specs are. We use the 3-jaw puller to get the old harmonic balancer off. We did have to. What did we have to do with this? Because this wasn't long enough. What did we used a 6-inch extension on this?
Oh yeah, we actually used an extension. So we started out using the old crank bolt. I don't know where the old crank bolt is. You got that somewhere?
It's in one of the boxes, I think. Oh no, it's right here. It's right here.
There, you can demonstrate.
Yeah. So when we pulled the old balancer off, this is interesting, and you guys might want to understand what we did here. So the old crank bolt we loosened up, and then we fed it back in hand tight, and then of course we used the puller here on the old balancer, the old dampener. And when you tighten down this bolt here, it starts to pull the dampener off the car. Well, we got to a point where we just bottomed out on this thing. The threads were all bottomed out, and the dampener was still on the car. So what we ended up doing is pulling this whole bolt back out, and we put like a 6-inch extension for a 3/8-inch socket, and we put it down inside the crank. And then maybe we gained a few more threads. I think we cranked not even a full crank on this bolt here, and it ended up pulling the balancer off. But I fully expected the balancer to come off with just using this crank or this crank bolt as the point of contact. But like I said, we bottomed out all the threads on this puller, so we had to get something just a little bit longer, a few inches longer, and it came right off. It wasn't too bad. I when you think about doing a balancer on one of these C5s or C6s, one of these LS engines, it's a daunting task because of all of the stuff that you've got to get out of the way before you actually get the balancer off.
Yeah. If you didn't have to pull that steering rack out, you can swap a cam in what?
An hour.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
2 hours max.
We fought with that rack to get it off probably about an hour or 90 minutes to get that.
We had to go to dinner. And when we came back we were strategizing the entire time at dinner on how to get this rack
Get
out.
the rack out.
We finally got back and we got it out in like 10 minutes.
So the wobble on the dampener is a common problem on these LS engines, the older LS engines, and it is a daunting task. It's not a daunting task to get it off and get a new one on. It's just getting all this crap out of the way so that you can actually access that crank bolt and pull it off. So when you take your car to a shop to get that job done, they charge like $800-900. A lot of that is labor because it's just hours taking off and put back on. It's just like doing a clutch in one of these cars. It's the same thing. Dropping the subframe, pulling the torque tube. There's a lot of just labor work there, moving stuff out of the way, and that's what we found to probably be the most challenging part of this cam install, is just getting stuff out of the way so that we could access the cam, and then getting stuff back in the way once it got installed. But other than that, it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah. There's a bunch of comments here that I got to catch up on. Maddie, my question wasn't that stupid. Haha. Yeah, maybe. It was still stupid, Maddie.
No,
all right. Mr. Black, LSX balancers are cheap on Amazon now, like $20. Yes, I did see that. All these tools that I used that are in this one of these boxes, I got from a guy that I met on Facebook. So all the tools were free for me to use. I just have to bring them back to him.
Yeah, and if anybody wants a used LS1 balancer that's still in great shape.
Yeah, I mean the balancer didn't really show like any signs of, because that's the issue. This rubber bond,
laminates.
Yeah, and then the inner ring and the outer ring separate, go either in or out, and you have issues.
But Dave is selling this for
$200. I need to pay for the summer racing one that I just put in.
I thought it's $200. You were gonna pay for the whole install. With
was
this like $800?
That's a little risky.
So, and I'm just totally kidding. We're not selling that balancer.
He's hanging it on his wall, making a clock.
That's
out of
it.
Hey, that's a great idea.
Mr. Black, you can use the new balancer as an alignment tool. Leave cover loose. Yes, you could do that, but again, like I said, we since I had those tools, we just used it. If we didn't, we would definitely do it using the balancer as an alignment tool. Oh yeah, no issue there, Mr. Black. Just giving us info. I totally get it. That was definitely the route we were going to go if we didn't have the tool. Chris, how was removing the power steering pump bracket? I heard the 3 bolts are really hard to remove as the pulley is solid and you can't put a socket to the front.
We didn't remove it.
We did not remove it.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
The only reason you don't have to remove it is because you're not removing the heads.
Yes.
If you have to remove the heads, then you have to take the bracket off.
Gotcha.
But if you're leaving the heads on, you don't have to remove it.
Okay. So that was the difference.
Yeah, the EBCM bracket we had to remove.
Well, we just loosened it and then we just lifted it up. Kept everything connected. Just lifted it up.
Yep. Yeah, all those brake lines coming in there, we don't want to mess with.
No, yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah, no, my heads had to come off for my job, and putting the power steering on and off, that is such a big pain in the butt.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the bolts, you have to have the power steering pulley turned a certain way to even get to the bolts, and it's just a real pain in the butt for the alternator and power steering bracket. But in this case, heads on, bracket stays. So real easy.
Juan, any injection upgrades with this? Stock injectors. I'm not swapping out the injectors. If I do go with Greg's 243s, then we'll be upgrading the injectors then. Quick advice on the tune and stock stall. I set the speed hysteresis to 0, played with the base timing tables, and used proportional integral idle RPM error to help pushing through brakes. Guess what, man? That was Spanish to me. Maddie, you can you can translate that
That's
for
Portuguese.
me. Oh yeah, that's right. Brazil is Portuguese.
Yeah.
Sorry, Maddie. My bad.
Manual rocks.
Manual rocks.
C.
Todd, did you do that shim thing on the oil pump? No, we did not shim it. We just threw it on there.
Slammed it on.
That's it. Then I saw Scruff's Garage going crazy with the slips. Yes, did not do that. I heard, a bunch of guys do that, but a lot of guys don't, and they don't have issues. So I think the main thing is the pickup tube. Make sure you use the right O-ring, and make sure you put the O-ring on the pickup tube first. Do not put the O-ring inside of the oil pump. You'll risk pinching it, and that's where you get a lot of
Trouble.
trouble. I was going to say oil pressure issues.
Yeah.
Nah, Maddie, he's calling you out.
Is he? Hold on, I didn't get there yet. Is buying a whole top end kit a good idea? And if so, is there anything else I need to get with one?
I mean, top end. Your typical top end kit is going to be like, to call it a stage 1 is going to be like what you got, where you got your springs, your push rods, stuff that goes in the heads. I'd call a stage 2, for lack of a better way to classify it, would be to do heads, like replace your heads with like a ported head. I mean, it just all depends on what your goals are. If you're just trying to put a cam in there for a little extra heat, a little extra chop, you can go with the stage 1. If you're trying to push some serious power, get some serious airflow through your head, go with a CNC ported head. It just depends on what your goals are.
All right, let's see if there's any other questions here. Oh yeah, Maddie, Brazil equals Portuguese. Come on, that's my bad, Maddie. I'm sorry for that one. I apologize. Scruff is OCD. He's a good dude though. I mean, a lot of the parts that I did for my build, you'll see that a lot of the same parts he used. So I definitely use his channel as, kind of, the idea of what I went with here. Mark Myers, is that you, my nephew, Mark Myers? Even Mr. Black, even Steve Morris racing engines just bolt on Ellis oil pumps, even on 1500 plug horsepower engines. I think the whole feeler gauge thing is overrated. You guys did fine. I kind of agree with you. So, what will be your horsepower upgrades? For me, right now, this is it. Cam. Again, maybe I'll do heads next year.
Anybody want to guess on what the dyno numbers are going to be on Monday when we take this thing over?
Yeah, if anybody wants to put a guess out there, you know what's done with the car. It's an 04 C5, so base 350 horsepower. TSB long tubes, TSB Cat X pipe, Billy Boat bullets out back, and obviously a cam.
I can tell you my C5 has a cam, same exhaust. I can tell you what it makes right now. I have the dyno chart. Well, I don't know if I want to give up that information because it might impact what your guess is going to be. So it'd be interesting to know what you guys think this car is going to make because I feel like it's going to be pretty similar to my C5 out there.
I think you're right. I think it's going to be a little bit more.
Think so?
Yeah. Only because I have the LS6 intake. You don't.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's only 5 horsepower, but, right?
If somebody says 380, they're going to be pretty close.
I agree. 380 is probably like 381 is what I'm going with.
To the tire, or
To the tire.
To the tire.
To the tire.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Mark Myers, my nephew, going crazy on the comments. Tony, new injectors. No, I'm not doing new injectors. Keeping the stock injectors for now. If I do new heads next year, that's when I'll do the new injectors. Rob, Steve Morris is next level. Yeah, he is. Justin 410, what was that in reference to? Was that in reference to what you think my horsepower would be?
Yeah.
Hey, Justin, what will I win?
Team 512.
You'll win a T512 shirt if 410 is the right one.
I got a stash over here.
Juan said 430. 430 would be awesome, but I think
That's aggressive.
that's a little
That's
aggressive.
That food isn't going to last long.
No. Project Dirty 392. 392 would be nice.
Ooh, that'd be good.
That would be nice.
That'd be
I
nice.
don't know. I mean,
392.
everything seeing your motor come apart says it's a strong motor. I wouldn't be surprised to see high 380s, 390s.
Ooh.
Pat's Garage 352. Come on, Pat.
Come on, Pat.
Jeez. I'm taking that IA down with this puppy.
Tell him to give you the moon tune.
Yeah, he said we're way lower elevation. You're right. Once I go back to the Jersey Shore, I'm right at sea level. So, Corvette guy said 420. I think that's still a little aggressive.
That's a little hot. Yeah.
Rob said 375. That's ballpark.
Yeah, that's ballpark.
My nephew's saying 450. I appreciate that, but it's not going to be 450.
Not through an automatic.
No.
And not with an element.
Tony said 390. So I think, we're going to be in between Rob and Tony on that one. Justin said he needs a t-shirt. You need a Team 512 t-shirt or you need a Yellow Vet t-shirt? I know you got this one, but let me know. Corvette guy said, am I going to put up another Yeti cup? I have another giveaway for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to show that yet.
Why don't you show?
All right, we'll show you.
show the giveaway?
For you guys that are sticking around here on the live stream, I didn't think I would be actually having a live stream that was over an hour freaking long. So let's go with this. I know if you guys watch Scruff's Garage, then you'll know about the Corvette Clips C5 cup holder. I drove out here with this thing with coffee in it. Dude, that thing is legit. All right. That is great if you guys use your cup holders and your C5s. It hold, yeah. I'm giving Scott one for a C7. But that cup holder clip is awesome. So I got a black one to give away to somebody, but that giveaway isn't live yet. I will update the channel on that one later on. Let's see, where are we at? Oh man, there's a bunch of comments here. Peter Carey said 387. That's a good guess. I like that one.
Yeah, that's right on the money.
Justin said I gained some weight. My Yellow Vet shirts fit like a toddler. Sorry to hear that. Tony said for the record I said 390 before he said that. Okay.
Now they're arguing.
Yeah.
Who gets what first.
Yeah, Mr. Black, stock 241s. I'm saying 385. We're right in there. That's where I think we're going to be. Right in the 380s somewhere. Todd, 425. It was a manual 365. All right, come on. Our track is at 4,600 feet. Wow, that's some high elevation. Pat says, yeah, it will be an I-8. Maddie said 385. Mr. Black said, I need you all of our shirts. Rob said Scruff swears by it as well. I'm assuming you mean the cup holder. It is awesome. I'm telling you guys. Guess I'm going to win that Yeti cup and that cup holder. Well, the cup holder is a separate giveaway, but it does look like you're going to win the Yeti cup. I mean, this guy, I don't know. I mean, I know the Corvette guy.
Oh, I didn't
He
see
put
that.
up 10 degrees with the top
Oh,
down.
what?
10 degrees.
10?
Man, that is crazy.
10.
Because I thought it was 20 degrees with the.
Your buddy did 20.
Yeah, I didn't
And
know
then
it was
he
10.
did 10.
Oh man, yeah, you got this. You got this.
I haven't seen anybody post up another one
No,
after he
yeah.
put 10 up.
Just send him the cup.
I think so. Just for that.
Awesome.
It's not gonna get that cold here.
No, it ain't. I mean, it
Where's
was.
he at? Where are you at, Corvette guy?
Yeah, where was that at? Was that? I know your plates say Texas, but I don't know if you're actually in Texas or not, because I don't know if Texas
10
gets that
degrees
cold.
Texas.
10 degrees up in the hill country.
That's a bit of a stretch.
Hey, Peter Carey's still giving you crap on this C8 build.
Oh.
Ask Scott if you got my C8 build email.
All right, Peter Carey. I actually got a couple. I received a couple emails from a couple folks that sent in some C8 builds. So I'm going to throw this out to everybody that is on this live stream right now. I just released a video last night where I featured a bunch of subscriber C8 builds. So if you go to the C8 configurator on Chevy's website and build a C8 Corvette, and email it to team512garage@gmail.com. I will do another video of subscriber builds. So it's team, TEAM, and then 5FIVE12 garage@gmail.com. Send them to me, and I will feature them on an upcoming video.
That is complicated email address.
Team 512 garage.
Why can't you just have Team 5, the numbers?
Because somebody else already has it, man. I don't know.
Okay. The Corvette guy, I'm going to update my guess to 388. I think we're going to be in that 380 mark number. Mark, can I call? No, Mark, you cannot call. That's my nephew again.
Does it call you?
Juan said off topic, still have stock stereo. I do have the stock stereo. If you watch my channel, I have a Bluetooth module on the stock stereo, so I can listen to music and take phone calls.
Yeah.
Taking phone calls is a little bit of an issue with the exhaust setup. People just can't hear me. I debated on doing it when it was -5 the other day.
Oh,
if
who said that?
that's the Corvette guy that has 10 degrees.
Where's he at?
Where's he at? Did he answer that question? He did not. Well, I recently moved to Maine, so he's in Maine now. Okay.
All right, you win.
I know. That's crazy.
Bahama.
Oh man.
Yeah, just I said down south had a cold spell. They did, but no -5.
-5.
I can't.
All right. Pete said he sent you the email this morning.
I got it.
All right. Juan said thanks. Yep. And my nephew says bye. Are there any other questions before we close out this live stream?
Want another glass of wine?
Yeah. I think I still have the wine actually out here. Let me go get my glass of wine. Oh, we got another question. How long you think?
It's on the steps holding.
It's on the steps.
Oh, there it is right there. Now, I'm not a wine drinker, but Scott over there, he got me hooked up on some wine. He said I gotta breathe in through my nose.
No, you're supposed to snort the wine.
Oh yeah, snort it. Okay.
And a couple of things.
All right. So Todd, how long you think was the added time to change the oil pump and timing chain after getting timing cover off?
Oh, not
Not long at all.
Not long at all.
The oil pump was held on what 4 bolts, and then the pickup tube had 1 bolt in it. When you do remove the pickup tube, put a paper towel or something covering the oil pan. You do not want to drop that bolt in the
Yeah,
oil
we bought
pan.
this.
That would, yeah, we got this like pig blanket stuff.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
AutoZone has this stuff called pig blanket or something.
Pig something. It's that oil absorbent material. It just sucks up
Yeah,
any
we
liquid.
laid it all down under the car, and it came in really handy.
But to swap out the timing chain and oil pump, I mean, just because we were kind of filming, but not really.
Oh,
But
5 minutes.
yeah, I was gonna say half an hour.
Yeah,
And if you're getting down to business, half an hour.
Yeah. If you don't know what you're doing, call it an hour.
Yeah. Corvette guy, I'm gonna get that cup, and then I'm gonna win that cup holder to go with it. I hope so, buddy.
I like that guy.
Well, yeah. Mr. Black, hoisting a shot of whiskey with you, Dave. I appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Peter Carey said, thanks, Scott. Todd said, thank you. Yep, no problem. Justice said we're going to get whacked tonight. We might. That's definitely not out of the question.
We'll do a couple cold starts at 1 a.m. Wait
Great
for
job,
you.
guys. All C5 guys, thank you. Hey, appreciate it. You know, we put these videos together because it's what we like to do, right? I mean, we enjoy the whole process of making these videos, and we're just sharing our owner experience. That's pretty much what this is, and it's fun.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for hanging out.
that's why we're doing this. Yes, thanks to everybody that was hanging out tonight. Again, didn't think this would go on for an hour, but awesome. Thanks for everybody supporting all the comments. Project Area, put a large magnet under the pickup tube bolt to catch it in case I drop it. That's a good idea too.
Very good idea.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. But I mean, just because you're already nervous about dropping this bolt, you're turning this thing like a 16th of a turn, waiting for this thing to drop. So you're already cautious of it.
Hyper
Pat, thanks for doing the live stream. Glad to see all you guys working on this. Get caught up on sleep. I don't sleep, Pat.
Pat, I'll see
Building cars, you cannot sleep. Corvette guys, so there's a company called WSJ Wines that sends you boxes of wines for $194 every couple of months.
Oh, nice.
Sign me up.
So WSJ Wines, remember that one, Scott.
got it.
Scott's the wine drinker. I'm not into wines.
I'm on it.
Mark here, GG. Okay, Mark, I got it, buddy. I see you. I see you out there. Corvette guy, the wines are pretty good. I recommend. So just so you know, there, Scotty.
All right, I'm on it.
Super helpful. I'll hit you gents up soon later. Yep, no problem. Great live feed, guys, especially for your first one ever. I've never done it yet. Dude, I didn't know what to expect with this live stream. I'm winging this, but again, it's working out pretty well. Rob, thanks for the great content as usual. Favorite channels on YouTube. Hey, Rob said favorite channels on YouTube.
Yeah, buddy.
He said plural channels, so I'm assuming he's talking about you and me. Appreciate that, Rob.
We're having too much fun, man. Too much fun. Thank you for your support.
Thanks. Justin said we keep a tight Corvette community. You're right about that. Car community in general is pretty tight, but I think the Corvette community just takes it to the next level.
Yeah, I have to say, I haven't had any Mustang guys ask me to come work on their cars. I was a Mustang guy for a little while.
Yes, Greg owned a Mustang before he got his C6.
Yeah, it was a big life decision, and it was a good one to go to a C6
There you go.
over an S550.
Nice yellow vet. That's right. Yellow is a nice color. I love the color on the C5s. That Corvette guy said over 12 bottles per box. Red, whites, whatever you want.
I like this guy.
So, I think we got to go take a trip up to Maine.
The Maine. Yeah, road trip to Maine.
Peter Carey, great job to everyone and to you, Dave, for fielding on those comments. Yes, thanks, Pete. Corvette guy said, I got you.
Nice.
Well, he said, I got you, Scott. He didn't say me. What the hell? This is my live stream.
buddy.
Come on.
Cheers.
Mr. Black, yes, I am just using my phone. I can't show you, but yes, this is my phone. Project Dirty, you guys are awesome. Thanks for the support you've shown me on my page also, man. Hey, you know, we like to support other Corvette channels. We all started from nothing, right? I started my channel as just like, hey, let's see where this thing goes. I met Scott a little over a year ago now at this point, or about a year ago maybe. So, you know, we support every Corvette channel out there. I don't see this as a competition between me and Scott. I see this as, you know, it's a community, and the better we both do individually, the better everybody is going to do, right? Because he has videos with me, I have videos with him. So if you watch him, you're going to watch me. That's kind of the way I see it.
Yeah, it's co-opetition.
Yes.
A rising tide raises all ships.
That's a good one.
That's all
That's good. That's good. Hey, that's why you're here. Mr. Black, be nice. Be nice. Now we own Mustangs too. Tony said, "Be sure to watch a C8R running at Daytona overnight tight race." We were watching that a few hours ago while we were doing the camp swap. So we were watching the race.
Yeah, I watched them qualify. It was fairly impressive watching them qualify. They did pretty well.
Uh-oh. We got Tom Cruise over here, Scott.
What?
We got Tom Cruise over here.
What is going on here? I think it's time to wrap this thing up.
Mr. Black said, "Well said, Dave. I think I'm subscribed to like 7 YouTubers in this live feed."
Nice.
Again, that's what this is all about. Just to support everybody, and it's just fun. This whole thing. This is literally a team effort. Kudos to all you. Yes. Thank you to Scott for letting me do this in his garage. And, of course, to him, his wife, and his whole family, the kids, everybody, for letting me stay here the weekend. Thanks to Greg for showing up today. He got us out of a few pinches today, to say the least.
Yeah.
And hopefully, when he gets home tonight, he's going to send me a nice text saying that, hey, I have the retainers for you.
I'll do my best.
So hopefully that comes true, and we'll be good to go.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
So, all right, guys. I think that's going to pretty much wrap it up. We're at almost an hour and 15 minutes. So,
Wow.
Yeah, that's a long live stream.
That's a healthy live stream.
So, just want to say thank you to everybody for supporting the channel. Thank you for supporting me, supporting Scotty. Thank you to Greg. Thank you to Scott, and thank you to everybody here. So, stay tuned for the videos. There's not going to be much in-depth video on how we did all this, because once you get into doing all this, you just want to get it done. You don't really want to film it. So, I mean, we did our best, but, you know, we didn't really film all that much. See if there's any other comments here. Pete, anyone doing any Carlisle Dreaming yet? I got ordered my field pass, so I'll be getting that soon.
Yeah, and I can update from one of the things that we're doing at Carlisle this year. There's going to be about 5 or 6 of us YouTubers. We have a designated space at Carlisle on the show grounds. So Horsepower Obsessed. I don't know if you guys know Justin. Horsepower Obsessed is going to be there. Myself, Maddie from Maddie's Garage, who was on this live stream, JT from Cars Guys, Jason from Brink of Speed, or not Brink of Speed, Jason from Front Seat Driver, and Protective Dad Pranks, Steve. So there's a group of us that are going to be there the whole week. So if you guys are going to be at Carlisle, make sure you stop by, say hi, hang out. You know.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm just going to be there for probably the day on Saturday. I did see a comment from Tony saying that he'll be there. Tony, I tried seeing you last year, but I guess you were walking around at the time. I don't know if it was your son that was out there with you, but you weren't at your car. But hopefully I get to see you this year. Yes, next time. Totally agree. So, all right, guys. So that's going to do it. Maybe we'll do another live stream tomorrow if we get the correct valve retainers, and we'll start this puppy up. So can't wait. Again, thank you. Appreciate everyone that has subscribed and supported the channel for the 2+ years. So everybody have a good night, and we'll catch you on the next video. Now I don't even know how to end the live stream.